I was so mad that particular day. One of my bosses had made me absolutely mad. I was mad, mad. So I go to them and they realize I'm mad. And they're asking me, why are you so excited? Why are you getting excited? Everything in me dictates to you that I am very, very upset. But why are you getting excited is their way of saying, why are you getting annoyed? So if I do not understand how they are putting across that point, I will not understand. Actually, communication in an organization, it's very, very key. And it's good to understand when I say this, what do I mean? When I say this, what do I mean?
From wherever you're watching us from, hello and welcome to Her Essence. I'm your host, Eva Maguti. Buckle up and let's talk. Welcome and welcome to Her Essence. And today we have a very interesting topic. We'll be talking about organizational communication and behavior. And I am joined by a very, very important guest, Simon. And karibu sana.
Asante sana.
You can introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Simon, and thank you, Eva, for having me on this show.
Karibu.
I'm very honored and very excited to share with you a few things that I know about communication and behavior. And I'm happy to be here.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
We are happy to have you. I know, like most of us, or some of us who are watching at home, are pretty much employed or have employed someone. And I just want us to discuss a few of the things that make communication effective when it comes to employer-employee relationship and communication in an organization, in any field yenye mtu ameajiriwa kazi, mainly. So we will start by defining what is organizational communication.
Okay. Communication, there is organizational, which is an institution, and communication. Let me first deal with the easy one. The easy one is communication. We all know communication. Nisaidia na hiyo maji, you give me the water, that I've communicated. If you don't give me the water, maybe you didn't hear me, or maybe you want to communicate that you are angry and upset with me, so you out and patilia maji.
Okay.
So organizational communication, that is how we communicate and the agreed rules of communication in an institution, in an organization. An organization, this is where you find that there is an employer-employee, an employer-employee relationship, and there is not only employer-employee relationship, there are other relationships. There are horizontal and vertical relationships. And there is horizontal and vertical communication.
Yes.
So it's always very important to know how you communicate with your employer and also amongst your peers, and not only amongst your peers, like for example, in institutions like banks, institutions like Safaricom, for example, they are regulated. Most of the organizations pay taxes. It's good to know how do you communicate with KRA, Kenya Revenue Authority. How do you communicate with your regulator? Your regulator is happy with you or not happy with you. How do you communicate? Because sometimes a breakdown of communication may aggravate a very small scenario, a very small situation. And it's important to know the effective ways of communicating. Let me just give an example.
Okay.
There was this particular day in one of the institutions that I've worked. There were many projects. There was different teams in different areas. And there were so many emails going back and forth, and things about things that are not being done, and blame being pushed from one end to another. You know, as we have done this, you guys have not done this. When we call you, you don't pick. When they call us, we don't pick. You know, there was a lot of blame on emails. Yeah, emails bouncing back and back and forth. So I remember the big boss, now the main boss, a regional boss, came and put us all together. Put those guys that are out of the country on phone and put us on a team. And he's like, let me listen to you. This is what you're saying. this is what you're saying. And a lot of the things that were issues were resolved. And this is what he said, and I have never forgotten that to date. He said some things are easy. It's very easy for you on emails to miscommunicate or misunderstand, of have information being misrepresented, because my understanding of English is different from your understanding of English. You ever seen someone typing and maybe missing a word, and you're trying to imagine or to understand what did this person mean by this email, and you send another email. Or for example, someone, because of our cultural differences, like for example the Asians, when they are saying yes, they don't say yes, they say you know, you think they're saying no, but they're let me use another example. Someone said, and we're talking about communication, someone said, I was so mad that particular day. One of my bosses had made me absolutely mad. I was mad, you know, mad. So I go to them and they realize I'm mad. And they're asking me why are you so excited? Why are you getting excited? I'm thinking, look at me. Do I, okay, I know you're not dumb, but do I look excited to you? Everything in me dictates to you that I am very, very upset. But why are you getting excited is their way of saying, why are you getting annoyed? So if I do not understand how they are putting across that point, I will not understand. Actually, communication in an organization, it's very, very key. And it's good to understand when I say this, what do I mean? When I say this, what do I mean? Oh, you will ask me to define communication. Sorry, I've gone to examples of breakdowns of communication and things like that. But understanding in communication is key. And they say there is the communicator, there is the channel, and there is the respondent. And for you to understand the communication is perfect, there has to be a response or feedback.
Yes.
If there is no feedback, whether positive or negative, there is no communication. There is a breakdown, what we call a breakdown in communication.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about now making communication effective, how can a boss make communication effective so that the employee is getting what exactly he or she envisioned? And how can an employee make communication effective ndio waweze kuelewana, they be at the same page?
Now, number one, the two, each and every one of them has a role in how effective the communication would be. What do I mean by that? The employer, I have a message that I need to relay to my employee. And sometimes you'll find in institutions, for me to inculcate a culture, if you join an institution, you're given an employee's workbook that tells you the expectations of that institution. And sometimes it's good to have forums that you allow people, as an employer, you allow employees time, you call them and ask them for feedback. Is my communication effective? You know, what do I need to improve on my communication? Because I'm just assuming I'm on a day-to-day. I've called in the morning, I've come today, and we're agreeing on the tasks that need to be carried out in that particular day. So first, it's good to have them all clear. And it's good as an employer to ask the employee, these are the tasks. Are they clear? You know, for you to ask the employee, are these tasks clear to you? You want to understand whether the employee has actually gotten all the tasks and the responsibility and responsibilities and what is expected of them, whether it's very clear to them. So that if there is something that is ambiguous and then it needs clarification, the employee will tell the employer, ABCD is not very clear. Is it possible to clarify? Or would you give more information or elaborate further on point A or point B? So that when everyone is leaving the table, we all know it's all clear.
Okay.
I do not come in the evening and tell you, by the way, I thought you meant A. No, if I had clearly communicated A and you got B, it's on you. You never asked. Do you mean to say, have you ever heard of that
Yeah.
That statement that clarifies a particular position. When someone is asking, okay, I know you meant, you've said A, B, C, D, but do you mean to say, so that the person clarifies, the one being asked the question will clarify, no, I actually meant this, not that. For example, you know, I want you as a sales team to give me, assuming we are opening accounts, to give me 100 accounts by end of the week. You break that down on an everyday basis, 5 days, it's 20 every day. So in the morning, I come to you and tell you, kindly give me 20, I need 20 accounts every day. If you know, for example, you're only going to be able to give those 100 accounts on Thursday and Friday, it's good to ask, do you mean to say that every day, by end of every day, you have to close my account with 100? No, with 20.
With 20.
Or does it mean it doesn't matter how I break it down, at the end of the week, it's going to be 100? Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's not very clear, if I come up with none the first day, you're not supposed to shout at me. If I come up with none the second day, you're not supposed to shout at me, because I know on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll do 30, 30, say 40, and I have my 100, home and dry. If, for example, it's 40, and I'm using the example of the accounts, if it's 20 per day, and I've communicated clearly it's 20, I expect by the end of that day to have 25, 21, or if you didn't hit 20, let me know what happened and how do you plan on hitting the 100 in that end of the week. Just very simple, simple communication. Now, as an employee, that's the employer. As an employee, I need to come and tell you, by the way, I'm not going to be able to give you 100. I'll get 10 the first day. I'll get 30 the following day. I'll get 10 the third day, and the rest I will get the remaining part of the week, so that it's very clear. You know, at the end of that day, I had said 10, you had said 20, but we agreed it's 10, 10 is fine. Or if the employer has an issue and tells you, no, it has to be 20, then you agree. Personally, I don't think this is for me. I can't be able to do that. I know I can do 10 and tomorrow 20, 30, so that for those 2 days
We've covered 40.
I've covered 40. So you agree on how to proceed. Because if you do not agree and you assume they will understand, or the employer assumes that you actually understand, at the end of the week there's going to be trouble. One person, no, at the end of the day, there's going to be trouble. One person will not be happy, one person will be getting blamed for not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I think we've dived deep into official communication. When we talk about informal, like when it's not so official, the type of communication that goes a bit personal, where does the boundary lie?
Okay, I will say this. I'll say this. In an organization, there's something called emotional intelligence, and it's very critical in every person in an institution, whether an employer or an employee. Emotional intelligence dictates that when I'm assuming I'm married and I'm having a fight with my wife in the morning, that particular morning, and I have a board meeting that morning, I have 1 hour to the board meeting, I will not take my issues in the family to the office. That when I hit the door of the office, I will leave my bag, my issues at home or at the door, go and work in the office, and immediately I leave the office, I will take my issues back to the house. So you asked me the emotional, so, okay, you asked me, how do you communicate informally?
Yes.
The people who don't know the difference between an employer-employee relationship and a friend's relationship. Yeah, and sometimes some things that are supposed to be very professional, watu wanaleta mchezo kwa kazi.
Because you find people, maybe it's a good day at work, maybe on a Friday. In most offices, Friday kishafika 4 p.m, they'll go out for drinks. And they'll go as
a team,
colleagues. Yeah, and more or less they will discuss about work matters. And sometimes certain decisions are made there.
Now, let me say this. There's no problem in that, but the issue is, and professionals will tell you that in as much as decisions are made out of the office, when we are drinking, that is not the place to bring in very important office matters.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not supposed to be, yeah, but that's not the best place to bring such a discussion. It's very, very important to understand the difference. Now, you talked about being informal. I have a boyfriend, or I have been telling my colleague about this boyfriend this girlfriend that I'm dating, and yesterday I proposed and she said yes.
Okay.
I come to the office, I'm very excited. Everyone is very quiet, but I want everyone to hear about my engagement, what actually happened.
Yeah.
We expect that when you're in the office, we're actually working. And it's okay to share.
Yes.
But it's not supposed to be, I'm saying that informal. You're talking about taking business out of the office. Me, I'm talking about now having things that are personal brought to the office. I divorced someone, and I'm bringing my trouble to the office. And I expect that you guys will come speak to me. I'm not saying it's good to be insensitive, but it's also good to be sensitive to your work or your workplace. Now, when you bring your personal issues to the office, definitely that will affect your outcome. And as an employer, I do not expect that when you're having your personal issues, unazileta kwa ofisi. I expect, like for example, if I'm in a service industry, I expect customers to be served nicely.
Yes.
Like let me use an example, because people, comedians make fun of this. M-Pesa ladies, they are known, ako job, lakini anakujanga na attitude zake, anataka kuongea moshene, akiwa job. You know, personal things that are not supposed to be there. So what is being communicated to the other person? When I come to you as in need of cash in an M-Pesa shop, and you're rude to me, because where you don't differentiate between work and your personal life, I would rather not deal with you and go deal with someone else that is professional.
Yes.
That is able to distinguish between work and office, my office and my personal life.
Yeah.
And what does that do to the owner of the M-Pesa shop? I've lost business. Mimi, kazi kifunga, when that business goes down, the employee will leave that M-Pesa shop, go look for another M-Pesa shop to work. Or rather, will begin blaming the employer, that employer hamlipangi, nani attitude yake ya kazi that is affecting this business. So it's good to differentiate between personal life and the other, what do you call it, your personal life and business. Kama ni biashara, ni biashara. Do not bring your, it's okay to chat, it's okay to talk about some of these things, but respect. I know of instances that I am in a meeting, and guys wanakuja kusimama, I've closed my door. Guys wanakuja kusimama hapo nje, and they're busy laughing. Until the people, nowadays people do Zoom and all that.
Yes.
You're on a call, you're in a meeting, and you're very distracted because these guys are laughing, busy laughing. Of course, as a human being, you would want to know why are they laughing. But you see, you're in a meeting.
Yes.
I can't get out. Sometimes, enough times, auko umefunga mlango vizuri because there was no noise. But some people wanna decide, hii story ni tamu, hapo kwa mlango yako, hapo ndio wanamalizia.
Hapo ndipo imeshikia.
Hapo ndio imeshikia, and they will laugh and they do not care whether you're in a meeting or not. You see, that is very disrespectful.
Yes.
Or some people in places that we have people that have offices. Because we're now moving more and more from closed areas to open working spaces. So you will find that in open working spaces, people will mtu ako hii kona manapiga story na another guy on the other side, and it's not even official work. I know of a particular community, I will not say which one, tribe, not tribe, community. Is it tribe or community? They shout. Yeah?
Okay.
There was one person, I asked someone, I'm in my office, they're in 3 offices down the line, but because there is glass they can see me, they have to shout to me. You know what I normally do? I normally pick the phone and call me, and put it down. Use the phones. That's why the phones are there.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't have to listen to what is it that you're telling me.
Yeah.
I know another guy, you're talking about informal communication.
Yes.
There's another guy, we are very quiet. Everyone is very, very busy. And okay. Everyone is very, very busy and quiet. Concentration imeshika. You know, when you get into an institution, you can see people working or calls ringing and all that. But you can tell everyone is engaged in whatever it is that they're doing. Calls, people are talking on calls in low tones and all that. Very professional environment. And then this guy, in the midst of that quiet, the guy laughed, believe you me, alicheka mpaka kaanguka chini. As in, laughed so loudly mpaka anaanguka chini. As in, it's too loud that everyone gets scared and is asking, what is happening?
What's going on?
He's on the ground, ameanguka. To me, that is, okay, it was because of football and he was laughing about that. Bringing unofficial business to the office. There's no problem in having football.
Yes.
Like now we are going into the political space.
Yeah.
And you will find people having serious political disagreements in the office. Actually, I know of some offices that have banned or have restricted the amount of politics in the office. Because politics can be very emotive. Politics, people fight in the offices because of politics. And I've realized even football is getting that direction. So it's very, very important to distinguish, to know office rules are there to be followed. It's good to understand that whatever it is that I am doing affects my neighbor, my employee, affects my employer, affects, like, for example, other stakeholders, like, say, if you're in a service industry, customers. Assuming you are in an audit firm, there are timelines, deadlines that you need to meet. If I come and laugh and interrupt you, you're not able to finish something in the time that you would have wanted to. Or rather, coming and pulling you into conversation. I know of people who are very good into that, in doing that. I am in the middle of a conversation with my friend, and I realized this story. I think Eva should be part of this story. What's Eva this story? So we come and are telling you this how the weekend tuli chachisha. You know, and things that we did over the weekend. You're very busy working, but you have to, because you don't want to look like the bad one, the one that is mtumaringo. Penangi story, you will definitely have to listen. What suffers at the end of the day? Your work.
Yes.
And your what do you call it? Your output is affected. So it's good to respect the office spaces and some conversations, to leave them to those areas of lunchtime, lunch breaks, tea breaks. I know of a guy. Okay, I think I am that guy. I know of a guy, looking at numbers sometimes from January to January can be stressful. So I have a friend, every time I was on a break, ya ofisi yake ndio nilikuwa naenda break.
Okay.
So you see, it's not like tumeambiana a break itakuwa this particular time, but every time I am on a break, ofisi yake ndio naenda break. So what am I doing? I'm going to interrupt him because it's not like he's not doing anything. He was working, right? If I didn't show up, he would have continued doing whatever it is that he was doing. But because I have shown up, and I am this kind of a person that you can't ignore. Mimi, you can't ignore me. You have to listen to me. I will make you listen to me. So if I do it 2-3 times, every time I come, you know I'm coming to get two story. But what am I doing? I'm affecting that person's time and output.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we'll definitely host you for us to discuss employer-employee relationship kama like what you were telling me. Msi ameajiriwa kwa boutique or housemaid or Uber, something like that. But to our final question, when maybe an employee has been sexually harassed or emotionally or physically abused, how should they make their voice be heard? And at the end of the day, anafilnika justice is served.
Okay. One thing I'll say in this country, I know we have movements that fight for some of these practices and discourage some of these practices.
Yeah.
But I don't think that our system is hard enough to fight some practices. In other countries that I know, there are things you can't do. If I notice that you're making advances, particular unwarranted advances to me, it's very clear. I go report you to HR or I go report you to my immediate boss, and action will be taken there and then. What happens if the aggressor is your boss? Now, I keep saying you have two options. Option number one, you can escalate the matter to the boss of your boss. Yeah? But before you escalate the matter, first communicate that I do not appreciate this advance. There is this notion in this country that sometimes when a woman, and let me say a woman, but it has been both women and men, sometimes when a woman, you're making sexual advances to a woman, when they say no, they actually sometimes mean
yes.
Yes. They just want you to turn that no to a yes. But it's good to realize, even the Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Yes.
It's good to note that sometimes, and actually most of the times, when a woman says no or a man says no, it's a no, and it needs to be respected. When you're working in the office spaces and office areas, I am a married man. I have given you my wife. I have given you my girlfriend. I have given you my husband. I have given you my brother. I have given you because it goes either way. And I expect that when they come to that institution, that you will respect them, that you will not make them uncomfortable sexually, that they will not have a very discomfortable, a very uncomfortable conversations. You know, I actually, you need to stop. Don't place my hand, don't spank me, don't, those funny things. And sometimes some men, you will tell them to stop, they'll stop. And when they think that you forgive them, they'll do it again. Yeah. So what happens in that particular scenario? I said, it's good to first tell that person, yeah, I do not appreciate this. Because, truth be told, we've had people that have married their colleagues.
Yes.
How did it start?
Pretty much from seeing each other.
Seeing each other, laughing, holding, touching, and feeling good and all that. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that everyone appreciates such advances. So it's good to tell them and communicate. Maybe hajui that person that you, or maybe they didn't actually even mean anything. So it's good to tell them. If they don't and they continue, now you tell your boss. If your boss is the one that is doing some of these things, whether male or female, you have a committee, a disciplinary committee. it's good to communicate your concerns to them, or your HR. Kwanza unaanzanga na HR, you start with HR. If you don't have a HR, you have a boss of your boss. And if the owner is, you know, there are people who are in charge of everything. They are the owners, they are the HR, they are everything.
Nasemanga kioski kuna mwenyewe.
So if that person is the alpha and omega in the institution, and there's nothing that can be done to them, you have an option of even leaving that job or reporting them to organizations that that fight some of these practices, and definitely they will be tamed. Or number three, you have an option of living with it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
most people do that.
Most people do that, but they ignore the first two options.
Yeah.
If this is the boss of your boss, you can report them to institutions. And number two, you can walk away.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing as valuable as your worth. You define your worth.
Yeah.
If you don't respect me, if you do things that I've told you to not to do, it means you don't respect me. You don't value me. So I don't see my value and my worth in that organization. So walking away is an option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate your insight and your knowledge. And I hope you've really had a good time trying to understand how to make communication effective in your workplace. And comment down below and tell us some of the experiences you've had where communication was not as effective as it should have been. This is Wema TV. Wema TV on all social media platforms. Until next time, it's goodbye.